Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us here today. We're here to announce George Grove's opponent for the 15th of December when he'll be defending his super middleweight Commonwealth title at the XL Centre here in London. George will be defending against Glen Johnson, former world champion. Tough fight for George, but he's had a tough year, and when you look at the couple of injuries he's had, which caused him to pull out of a world title challenge, a fight I felt confident he'd win, and then making a statement in America in July. He had a great win out there, and unfortunately picked up a cut, so he couldn't fight in September. So it's been a bit of a in and out year for him, but here we are now, coming up to December, and he's got a fight that I think will bring out the best of him, and hopefully establish him to be one of the top super middleweights in the world. If he comes through that, we're going to make next year a lucky 13 for him. He's going to be very busy, and hopefully we'll challenge and hopefully win a world title. But he's got to get through Glen Johnson first of all. You all know who Johnson is. You've all seen him on many occasions. Tough guy, comes to fight, and I'm sure he'll be fancying the job against George. George now is 15-0. That's wrong. His record on if you look at the press handout, so you see he's 15-0. So it's his 16th fight, and I think he comes through this. It's going to put him in a position where not only he's going to be established as being one of the best out there, he won't be far, in my opinion, off of boxing for a world title. A couple more fights under his belt, and I think he's good enough to fight anybody in the top three in the world. Also, we've got on there the Commonwealth and vacant British middleweight title, which will be between Billy Jones Saunders, the Olympian from the Olympics before. He'll be stepping up to challenge for a title against Nick Blackwell from Trowbridge in England. Another big move up in class for Billy, and hopefully he will come through that. And again, like George, will be in some big fights next year. We'll be announcing Ricky Burns' challenger for his WBO lightweight title tomorrow. So hopefully you'll see we've got a great bill there. There'll be some more fights that are going to be added to it. And as I say, from my point of view, it's going to be a good way to the end of the year as far as FWP is concerned, and Box Nation. Some good fights, good fighters, some of the best youngsters around. Hopefully it'll be a show that the fans will appreciate and won't forget to end the year on. Anyway, we've got obviously George here and his trainer Adam, so if you've got any questions to ask, please feel free to do so.
You feel ready for this step up?
Yeah, definitely. I've been ready for quite some time. I've had a tough year, as Frank says. I've had a few injuries that have sort of obviously got in the way of fights, but I was ready to box for a world title, and I genuinely believe I would have won that world title. And this is the fight that I've asked for. It's a tough fight against a good opponent, and fortunately for me, he's a famous opponent who's been about, and it's a good name as well. So that's the added bonus. It's going to be an early Christmas present for me. I can't wait. I'm buzzing for the fight. I know it's going to be my toughest test yet. No one has an easy fight with Glen Johnson, and he showed that he's rolled back the years as well. In his last year, he pushed Carl Froch all the way. He lost on a majority decision. He's been busy since, so I'm really looking forward to the fight and going to relish the challenge.
You said in the past that you don't want to win a world title and not be able to defend it. Do you feel like you're ready to take on the best in the world now?
So as Frank says, maybe one or two more fights and I'll be there, but I'm definitely heading in the right direction. I've put the hard work in the gym. I think it's starting to show now in my fights, although they've been a bit few and far between. But I had a good performance out in the States, and I'm going to have another good performance before Christmas at the XL. And I think that'll definitely make people sit up and take note of me. And yeah, I'll be knocking on the door for another world title, I'm sure.
George, will you be looking to get some advice from Carl Froch?
Yeah, maybe. I have a good relationship with Carl. I think there's a whole heap of people where you can get advice about Johnson. He's boxed everyone, but even David earlier, they've done some sparring together. They've trained together. So there's plenty of people out there, and I'm sure I'll find some advice if I need it.
Did you watch the Froch fight? Have you seen it?
I have seen it. I have to go back and watch it again. It was quite a while ago. It was last year, but you know, Johnson will give anyone a hard night's work. You know, he has that sort of ability to make people uncomfortable. You know, I'm not expecting an easy night's work. I'll be preparing for 12 hard rounds. You know, I'll be planning to finish the fight before the end of the 12 rounds. Not many people get to do that with Johnson, but that'd be, you know, the ambition. But the main idea will be to go out there and win well. So, you know, I'll be ready.
How frustrating have the injuries been for you?
Very frustrating, you know, very frustrating. I think the fortunate thing is that I've been able to do the work in the gym. Each injury has happened literally weeks before a fight, so I've had all the hard work and preparation done in the gym, and they haven't been long, lengthy, career-threatening injuries. They've been pestering, annoying injuries that just basically prevented me from doing the final stages of training or fighting. So having the fight out in California a couple of months ago, that was a really nice thing. It showed that I've gone out there and the stuff that I've been doing in the gym, I'm able to put it into real fights now. I need a few more fights to make that really work, and this is a solid fight against a great opponent where I can again show the improvements that I've made. I haven't had a chance really to show these improvements. I've only had one fight this year, but pretty sure you'll see much more of me, you know, December 15th.
George, watching on television, it looked a particularly bad cut you had. How many stitches did you have to have in it?
Yeah, we had sort of minimal stitches because I wanted to get back to London and see a specialist.
We went to a plastic surgeon.
Yeah, well, I came back and the stitches was great. They, you know, the cuts healed nicely. I'm well on my way. I've had a few checkups since, and it's in good shape.
You've got no fears about it?
No fears at all, Joe. You know, I think even if it was a bad cut, you can't really go into the ring with that frame of mind anyway. But you know, you have to be conscious of your cuts, of getting cut. Every time I've been cut, it's been through a clash of heads. So, you know, it's about being aware of where people's head positions are and make sure my head ain't there, because my head always comes off second best.
Well, I was thinking of Glen Johnson's got a particularly hard head,
I should think so too, yeah. Well, I'll make sure his head's out of the way of mine.
You know, you've got to keep out of the way of that head, haven't you?
Yeah, of course, yeah. You know, preserve, don't get cut. You know, that'll be important things. I've always been fortunate enough to have a good team, good cuts man in the corner with me, so I'll have one on that night as well, and hopefully I don't get one.
Adam, how's George coped with the injuries and the disappointments he's had the last year?
Showing frustration time to time, but the overall thing is that, like he said, the injuries have always come at the end of training, and so although the injuries have got in the way of him actually fighting, they haven't got in the way of him training and developing as a fighter. It's just that end result. And you can see through his record, he had 5 in 2009, 4 in 2010, 3 in 2011, and this will be 2 in 2012. So his schedule is on a decreasing scale for 2 reasons. First, he's had injuries, and secondly, that the level of opposition is going up. So you can't fight 5 times a year if you're fighting guys like Glen Johnson or James DeGale or fellas of this calibre. But the ideal, I think, scenario would be 3 or 4 fights over the next 12 months, starting with Glen Johnson, each opponent being progressively better than the previous one. And I agree with George, Glen Johnson will be his trickiest opponent to date because he will give things in the ring that George has to find answers for.
And good old pro, isn't he? You know.
And if we can have 4 fights in the space of a year where he's constantly being asked questions of and constantly finding the answers, then in a year to 18 months' time, he should be ready to become world champion and be able to deal with everything at that level.
George, did you watch your old friend DeGale on Saturday night? Do you think he's gone forward or gone back? Does it figure in your future plans?
I'm afraid I missed his fight. I was on honeymoon in Bali, and as much as my missus wanted to watch him box, we couldn't find him on Channel 5, so it was a shame. But I saw the last round, and from what I've heard, he didn't even make hard work of it. Apparently, he's adopted a very negative style now. Maybe it's down to his training or whatnot. But I'm just going to concentrate on the fight that I've got at hand. It's about me making the improvements and steps in the right direction. If DeGale is a step in the right direction at some point, then we'll take it. It doesn't bother me. It's a fight that I'm more than confident that I'll win. I'll always beat him. He knows that. So he's set off a new route now. He's with a new promoter on a new TV channel. So I wish him the best of luck. Unfortunately for him, the highlight of the night was Tyson Fury's 10-second interview. And so that's what got the hits on YouTube. That's what people are talking about. So no doubt he's got a lot more things to worry about than me at the moment.
George, on that note, the Gal's already saying he wants a world title shot next year. Is that something you want to try and beat him to?
No, I've never been in competition with De Gale. Since I've turned pro, I've concentrated on myself, about moving forward myself. Yeah, I've got Adam and Frank with me now, and Adam's always about concentrating on the right opponent that's going to bring out the next level of whatever I need for my career. Not racing for world titles in that sense. I want to be world champion, of course, and if one comes up, then I'll definitely take it with both hands. But it's about getting the right opponents at the moment, opponents that are going to make me improve. Glen Johnson's one of them. He's a tough challenge for me at this stage in my career. It's not something that I'm concerned about, because I know that with the right preparation, I'm going to go out there and do the right thing and look good doing it, and that's what I'm sort of focusing on at the moment.
Adam, George said he's not concerned about facing Glen Johnson. What concerns do you have about your man taking on Glen at this stage of his career? How big a threat does he pose?
Glen's very good at not giving too much away, but also being able to find homes for his right hand. And with the style that George is developing and with the things that he's been showing lately, I certainly expect Glen Johnson to be trying to time the right hand over George's jab, which I hope he does, because that's certainly something that George has got to rectify. He started getting used to using more head movement, and the more you do something, the more competent you get at it. And it's once he is the full package and a competent fighter, by fighting and beating guys like Glen Johnson, who's going to give him a lot of questions in the fight, he'll be ready to challenge. It's okay to say, I want to be fighting for world titles, like you said that James De Gale did the other day, but you're talking about Andre Ward, Arthur Abrams, or Carl Froch. That's it. If you want to be world super middleweight champion, you have to beat one of those three. They're all very significant, seasoned fighters who have seen everything in a ring, and you've got to be prepared for that. And you can only be prepared for that by seeing as much as you can, learning as much as you can before you step in the ring with them. Glen Johnson has posed questions for everyone that he's been in the ring with, so I expect the same for George.
George, you heard what Andel said about the 3 world champions. If you had a choice, which one would you go for?
Remind me of the world champions. I will zone out when you talk.
You don't listen to him, obviously.
Ward, Abrahams, and Frock.
I think without doubt, Ward's the best in the division at the moment. Yeah. He's made that clear. Abrahams was a fight that we spoke about.
You was going to fight.
He would be the mandatory challenger once I beat Stieglitz. That was the plan, and that was never a concern for me. Adam took a little bit more convincing, but he always does. I always talk him round, and the Froch fight is a fight that I'd love, because it's 2 Brits. Everyone loves 2 Brits, and but that could be an absolutely huge fight, and I think if it comes off, it really will be. Carl's at that stage of his career where he's probably trying to get big names, and I'm not quite that big name yet, but my bargaining chip is that I'm a good fighter, I'm a British fighter, and I plan to be a world champion and a great fighter. So maybe that fight will be one that comes down the line. It would be a fight that I'd love to take.
Brian McGee fights Mikhail Kessler, I think, on the same night that you're fighting. Is that another fight that you see yourself in down the line? Yeah.
McGee over the years has been mentioned, like maybe for British title level, Commonwealth title level, and now he's fighting for a world title. He's a man who slips in and out of the radar because he's always off about on his travels, and Kessler's come back, and he's a force. He's a strong man, and he's been about, and he's a great fighter as well. So it'd be interesting to see how them two get on, see what Kessler's got left, see if McGee can deal with that step up again. He's come short when he stepped up before. So yeah, that'll be the one I'll definitely keep an eye on, that fight, because they're again possible future opponents.
Just Going back to Glen Johnson, what do you think he'll show you in the ring that you haven't seen so far?
You know, I think
Experience.
exactly, yes, experience. He has an ability to exploit people's styles. You know, whether they're come forward fighters or back foot fighters, he usually finds a way of dealing with that. He don't get stopped, and he will give everyone a tough night's work, a physical night's work of boxing, and you know, I'll be prepared for that. I'll be physically stronger than I've ever been before. I usually am, you know, just through natural maturity and through training camps, but I will make sure that's an important part, I think, of the preparations for this fight.